Hi, Only Ones. This is Kathy. Just want to say thank you for tuning into Are We the Only Ones? And this particular episode will be a two-part episode. It's about healthy relationships. So after part one, don't forget to tune in for part two. Thanks a lot. Welcome to Are We the Only Ones? I'm Kathy.
Hi, I'm Ray.
And today we're going to talk about healthy relationships.
Yay!
The romantic kind.
The romantic kind. Because Lord knows I'm struggling to have a healthy relationship
With the government.
with the government, with my parents. But let me tell you, I do have one with my mans.
That's the thing that's, I don't know if that's consistent. I'm going to say that between you and me, or both of our relationships, we have difficult relationships with our parents, or had, in my case, had not. Well, we'll say like that's easier. You had, and then, but we have very good relationships with our spouses, and our children.
Yes. With I feel like when I was looking for my partner, I don't want to say that my dad was a bad dad. He grew up without a father figure because his dad was killed at a re-education camp, quote unquote, re-education camp, and he was a refugee. And I feel like he's like very quiet and hands off. Like for him, being a good dad and a good husband was always about being able to provide financially. And I will say he did show up to every single like soccer game that my brothers had. He never missed any of that. But he was not very like emotionally open. So when I was looking for a partner, I was looking for somebody that was a little bit of a different direction than what I saw like between my parents.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
Oh, I was definitely different. That was like the easiest compass was like go the opposite direction of whatever that was going on there.
Yeah.
But it was so funny. I was so blatantly like about that life, not being in what I was raised in, like not emulating that marriage, that I would say that straight up to my dad, and he'd be like so offended. I was like, oh, I would never marry anybody like you. And if I remember, my mom was like, your dad is so upset. He's so offended that you said that to him. I was like, but he knows. He set it up like, how could any woman want to be in this relationship? Like, completely.
Like, but me, I am.
No, she complained too.
Yeah.
It was so controlling. It was so controlling. But for her, it was like an act of service, I felt like. Being a Catholic, act of sacrifice. Being in that particular generation, she was born in 1952. So it's like very much ride or die for a man. That's literally what happened to her. I mean, she even said it. She's like, I just can't have him go in and me not go in too, and then me come out. And I was like, but what? Like, like what? Yeah. And it was like so conditioned. I could tell, even though she knew it was wrong, it was just the conditioning of her generation at that time. Like everything, almost your like entire identity
you are
is who you're married to.
Your man.
That is it.
That's so sad.
And then my dad came from like a famous, famous in good service, like doing a good reputation family. Not like they were like actors or something, not like that. They were like intellectuals, but were good business people. They were kind of my grandfather was supposedly the person who set the gold prices every day. And then my grandmother ran like the business. My grandmother was very much well known. My dad's mom, my dad's dad were very well known business people. And then my dad's mom, that's like the family. That's the compound. We're the second highest, largest landowner in our. It's called Pupuk. It's like a suburb of Saigon. And so, and then my uncle, who is the youngest of them, of my great uncle, he married the woman whose family was the largest landowner of that same area. So combined, right,
keeping it all together.
Yeah, so they were the ones that ended up with 2 temples, and they became monks.
Yeah.
And then they had kids and everything, and then became monks, and then they have temples, and that's where my mom's ashes are at one of the temples there.
Oh,
so then I have like this strong extended family, super tight, they're all very well respected, and we have like an air of like no smoking, no drinking, no gambling in my family. Is like hardcore.
Except for you.
I'm like definitely
Are you the
black sheep outlet. Yeah. It is so not. They like, even like they don't go to the spa. There's like not a lot of self care. It's always active service and working hard and doing things. They're not like that kind. I'm not like over vain though, so it's not a situation where they would be ashamed. It's not like that.
Yeah.
But just like, oh wow, that's a lot different. Like she just doesn't adhere, and that probably comes from her grandfather. It's probably what they say. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, because he was like the guy.
Yeah.
That's probably what they would say. I'm legit. But my mom's side of the family, my grandfather and my mom's dad did gamble, but like in a bad way.
Oh,
so like he was in charge. Yeah, he was in charge of like the soccer stadium, and then gambled away like, I guess, the rent for the stadium one.
Damn.
And they lived at the stadium.
So he's
all of
gambling somebody else's money.
So then my mom, strict with my mom, no gambling. My mom hated gambling. So my parents, as a rule in my house, no gambling. Also no cussing. The fact that I even say bad words in my family is like crazy to them. And to do it like on a medium, like it was like beyond nuts.
Damn.
Yeah. So, but that.
So when you were looking for a man, you were just looking for someone that would hold space for you to be you.
Well, yeah, there's that, but then also my husband is somebody who's actually very, very chaste. So he's never been with anybody but me. And we've been together for 26 years, married for 23.
Yeah.
And I think like my dad is not like a philandering type of person. It wasn't like that. But so I always want somebody that I know I can trust. Like I don't have to worry about them. They don't have to worry about me. Nothing ever bad is going to happen like in that way. And just know that, like secure in that. So we have that. But when we met in a club in Tijuana, and I hit on him.
I think it's funny because our stories and how we met our husbands are somewhat similar. Because I approached my husband.
Yes, so we both hit on our husbands.
Yeah, well, I didn't hit on him at first. I actually was
you just approached him.
I was yelling at him because he was doing something stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, "Oh, this girl's so cute. She's yelling at me because,
he likes abuse.
Yeah, he's a masochist. But he's like 6'3", just like has a very like charming look about him. So people don't usually approach he's also like this giant teddy bear. So people don't usually approach him and scold him publicly like that. So he was like, "I thought you had a lot of moxie." I was like, "Okay, are you
Moxie's
like?"
a funny word.
I know. I'm like, "Okay, Grandpa." Like, what? Who uses that adjective?
But you guys are close in age?
Yeah, he's only 4 months older than me.
Okay, so I'm 9 months older than my husband.
And the cradle.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
No, I used to hate that. I used to really hate that because my mom
really?
my mom was 5 years older than my dad, and so she didn't know until the day of their wedding. He had lied to her the whole time. And he was like, "Well, you love me, it's too late. You love me now, it's too late." And he came from a good family, and like, you know, like it was like my dad's side of the family, like there's books that are written, and then they're referenced in these books as like this great family that you could always rely on to always be honest, all that stuff. So we had like generations of
to be
cool
honest,
stuff.
as he lied about his age.
I know, that's why they always say my grandfather was anything that's bad comes from him, because he was like a possible like opium kingpin. There's like a crazy story of him.
Wow.
So we don't know. Like there was another story. Okay, this is not healthy. I'm talking about my grandparents on my dad's side, not healthy relationship, but this is the contrast. One time, my dad's sister was telling me about a story that my mom and her were in my mom's salon in Los Altos, and it was not busy. And they were all reminiscing about back in the day in Vietnam. And this one person who happened to be working at the salon at the time starts reminiscing about this party that she went to that was like a 4-story restaurant, super glamorous party for a famous singer in Vietnam who's being, and it was her birthday, and it was being thrown by her like rich boyfriend. And it was like down to like the gifts on each chair was like 555 cigarettes, and they had like cognac as their alcohol, Remy Martin cognac, and it was like high end wedding banquet food before a birthday. So, and everybody dressed really high, like they were fancy, and then they said the boyfriend's name, and they're like, wait, what? And it was my dad's dad. Yeah. So my mom and my aunt, because that's her dad, start laughing like, this money, right? Like, because it was my grandmother's money. It was my grandmother's side of the family that made all the money.
And he was using it for his
And
girl.
he used it for all his mistresses and all shit like that. Yeah. To the point, like, he did this big-ass party that, like, 30 years later, in a totally different country, this girl who had attended this party is now reminiscing about this party, only to find out the boss, the owner of the salon she works at, that's the father-in-law. Oh my God, right? So in that side, it's like, there's like, but he was also known as a really smart guy. Really smart guy. Really handsome, really like, had a lot of charm, had a lot of younger, well, this is what, I understand what happened. My grand/great uncles, it's the same. So when your grandmother's brothers, so they were best friends with him, and they thought it would be great to like introduce their best friend to their sister, in a union. And my grandfather in the beginning was very loyal to her and everything, but he had to go do a lot of like public events, because of his role. And my grandmother had such like low self-esteem, I'm gonna say. But she was a proud woman. My grandma was a very like badass woman. Like I try to emulate her level of like holding it down. But what I don't have that she had was she had low self-esteem to where she like told my grandfather, you know, when you have these public events and stuff, I'm just not beautiful enough to be on your arm. You should go with our friend. And so then she had a good-looking friend of theirs apparently and then they ended up having an affair. And then he just started having affairs. Like he just started, and it was like unleashed a monster. Like he just couldn't. So then my dad remembers being like 3 years old, and my grandfather like coming home. And my grandmother was like, "You need to stay home and help like take care of these kids. Your kids." And he was all drunk and fucked him. He's like, "Fine, then I'll kill this kid." And then he's chasing. My dad remembers like being chased around, hiding under tables, and getting away. One of my uncles grabbed it. Oh, I remember that and grabbed it because I remember I confirmed this with one of my grandmother's brothers that like that happened, and he helped hide my dad. And so that is also why my dad and I have a difficult relationship, because he had a difficult relationship with his dad. It was one of the few divorces that ever happened in the country. And it was one of the very first divorces that happened in the country. And then fast forward, my dad was like one of the top 3 in some kind of like academic collegiate university level test that you have to do in the entire country.
Take credit?
No. Just that my dad was like my dad is a smart person. He has a lot of pride, and then having a dad that was like that was so embarrassing because he came from this family that was so proper. So then that's his dad. He comes from a broken home, and his dad's, you know, like that. And that made my dad, I think, a certain way. Yeah. And so he and I always have a difficult relationship, but I know deep down he's trying his best. He's a much better father than my grandmother was. It looks like him a lot. So I got to give him credit for that. But we have a very difficult relationship because of the way that I was like a latchkey kid. I basically, they worked, and I just basically took care of everything. And so I was parentified so early on that I think it was also hard to have a kid that's parentified and is mature, that is asking you like adult questions. And then because I'm taking on adult roles, I feel like I have a right to ask these questions. And as an Asian parent that has like immigrated from...
You don't ask questions.
No.
You just do.
And then plus coming from a family that was like good, like knew what was up, and like knew what they're doing. Like, how dare you? Like, do you think? But I wasn't wrong necessarily. There were times where I was right. And then I wasn't good at like being gracious because I was a little kid. And like, ha ha, you know, and then that's not funny. Yeah. To embarrass somebody. You see what I'm saying?
Parents, yeah.
So in that way, it was really tough. But I ended up doing a lot of stuff by myself. Like when I did my sports, I did all my sports by myself. My parents, they would have come. I didn't let them come. It wasn't like they didn't come. It can be perceived like they didn't want to come, but I didn't want them to come. It was more like that. Yeah. And so I was just so independent that it felt, for them, probably felt really cold. But it was also a way to protect myself because I had such a tumultuous relationship with my dad. Like, when you're getting hit as a young, you were like getting hit when you're, even if it ended at 13, like, give him props for ending it, and like being like, I'm stopping now because this is the end of that phase of that.
This is the end
of like if you can't figure it out by 13, I don't know what to do. Like I can't help you because I'm not gonna hit you anymore, right? And I was like, thank God, like I didn't want, you know. So then I realized, oh, he didn't really want to. But then I learned that from my family, like that was actually not a thing. Like they didn't actually hit. He got hit one time because he broke all the roof tiles with like kung fu or karate or something.
So that was like the only way that he knew how to discipline you, even though that was not the form of discipline he grew up with.
Right. But in the country, that was the cultural way. So then it wasn't that. Because I hear now, like, people talking about, and it's like, haha, trauma bonding, haha, and like, it's funny. So I'm like, oh, okay, so it's pretty regular.
Yeah, sometimes.
It's pretty common.
We have to laugh about things
right?
to heal from that because you can't go too deep into it.
Yeah, but do I get anxiety whenever my dad when the phone rings and I see it's my parents' number, either one? Do I like want to vomit? Yeah. So that's how bad. Like, and I told him we had a good heart to heart. Like we're cool. So like we don't talk a lot because it's hard.
Yeah.
But we're cool. You know what I mean? So what I realize is in the process of understanding. Like I remember just being like I look at my mom and how she was as a mom, and I'm like, damn, I wish I cooked better. Like, I really wish these are things that I could do better. Like, her ability to really, like, always be, like, sweet and mothering as opposed to, like, mean. I'm more of, like, a mean, stern kind of mom. But then they know I love them. But I lead with, like, sternness because they were loud a lot, like, when they were younger.
Yeah.
And I had to be able to, because every school we had to go through. So that's the other thing, like having a good partner that understands that. Like we went through, like when we first met, a club in Tijuana, I hit on him. And I just remember like, after we met, he was going to leave 4 months after that to go to Rhode Island. I met him in Tijuana and I was going to college in San Diego. He was stationed in San Diego. In the Navy. And so, in the sub base in Point Loma. So, I was like, all right, I'm going to hang out with him for 4 months, and after these 4 months, done. Because my plan was, boss
He's
bitch.
going to go to Rhode Island, and I'm going to be here.
I'm just like, my entire plan is not to get married, and my entire plan is not to have children because of my parents' relationship. I did not want to be subservient to a man.
All you thought of marriage was...
Yeah, I didn't want to give up my autonomy. I didn't want to give up my independence. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to be told where I had to be and have somebody like use money in a way to like control me.
Yeah.
Even if I earned it.
Oh man, I couldn't imagine if somebody tried to tell me where to be.
Dude,
if my husband was like, yeah, you got to go do this, or I would be like, excuse me?
I mean, we have some collaborative, like, yes like, have I brought his dry cleaning to him in Manhattan to an office before? Yes. But have I had people go, oh, do you bring, like, you? I'm like, no, actually, he does all his stuff himself. And then they'll be shocked. Like, guys that tell their wives to do stuff, and then they go, Kathy doesn't have to do that. You know, what? And then they realize, like, they're asking their assumption of what their wife's role is, their entitlement, is completely fucked up.
It's wild, right?
But I know people that, especially in the military, like, it's also set up like that, right? You give up, especially if you have to leave your country to go.
You give up your career so you can be with your spouse.
So then some spouses take advantage of that. That's the other thing about having a good spouse, is that some spouses, a lot of them, would cheat. And the way that the woman would find... No, the husbands would cheat. Because sometimes they would have to go for a year. If you didn't take your spouse with you overseas, the government will only send you for 1 year. Mm-hmm. They'll send an active military member for 1 year. But if you go as a family unit, they send you for 3 years. So if you go for 1 year and leave your spouse behind, that spouse, if it's a military man, oftentimes will end up cheating. And then one time I know of, the spouse ended up coming later, and they were going to extend it to 3 year. Mm-hmm. And then she ended up catching a STD that she knew had to come from him cheating on her because she had not done anything.
Because she was
she was like very like clean living kind of person. Mm-hmm. And so it was like horrible things I would hear constantly. There's so many of them. There was so many. A lot of like military guys will keep trophies, and then the wives would find the photo in like a Bible
Ugh.
of like whoever they were hooking up with, whatever. While they like go on, it was a lot of times pilots would do it because they're flying. They're it's people like means, right? You have to be able to get there. You have to be able to get away from somebody in a way that where they can't
do your thing and fly back,
and they don't know, and everybody doesn't say anything. Yeah, this one unit, even down to like I thought there was like one person that didn't have to deal with it, and then even she had to deal with it. Even she ended up having a husband that cheated on her, and I thought she was like impervious to it. And I was like, holy shit. So then it was like 100% this one unit. I was like, damn. So I just like, I understand through truth.
Yeah.
That I didn't know it was like that. I had to be taught that it was like that. You know what I mean? So it was a letdown. But it was good to know that with me and my husband, we were outliers. Like, not only we were like one of the only Democrats on the base, because most people were Republican, but we were like one of the only people that didn't have kids. And everybody's like, why don't you have kids? We're like, oh, because we don't want to have kids yet. We're not like ready.
We're not ready.
They're like, what are you waiting for? Like, you've been in the military for like 10 years. Like, why? Everybody already had kids usually. Because you also get more money if you have kids. You get a bigger house. It was like, we weren't ready. And by waiting, though, it was good because by the time, and then through everything that we went through, like, we used to go get our haircut at this place in this hipster, like, haircut, like, barbershop where I would go to. Because I can get my cut, like, with clippers. And his barber, he had, like, a sad story with his wife, with, like, a loss.
Aww.
And they couldn't make it through that. They were together for 5 years, couldn't make it through that. Broke up. I know Prince and he had his first baby. I think it was also couldn't make it. So like, of course I understand why a couple would not make it through that, but we always made it through everything, through all the things that have happened, all the crazy stuff. Me and him that have had crazy things happen. Yeah, we made it through together. The key to that is knowing.
Yeah, what do you think is like that magical connection that you know that no matter what, you can get through anything and make it to the other side?
I think I was not looking for someone as much as I was like investing in myself.
Yeah.
I think when you're looking for somebody, that's when you don't find the right partner. When you are investing in yourself,
you're seeking fulfillment from somebody else.
You're just not paying attention to yourself. Like, if you make yourself somebody that other people don't want to ever lose or don't want to see with someone else, that's how you secure somebody that won't act out. Now, he was naturally like that anyway, but that's how I would have behaved anyway, and I just figured, well, that would be how, if somebody's going to come into my life, I'm going to be just who I am, and then they're going to want me the way I am and not want me to be with anybody else. As opposed, and then hopefully they'll be good and ready and like, or if they're not like, let's say, successful or whatever, but there's like potential where I can see they're a good person, and like if you believe and you help God, they're not like, they're open to criticism, understanding how to grow, recognizing when they're wrong, and being willing to make a change. If they can do all those things and they're more fun than being single, you have a good chance. Now you just got to make it through the first like 3 years of where it's easy. The like, oh, it's butterflies. Oh, they're hot. Oh, you're like hooking up all the time. Oh, whatever. It's fun. After 3 years, and then traveling together, you'll start to realize like, oh, I hate this about him, or I hate this about her.
Right.
But I love them anyway. And then you have to notice all the things you hate, and then eventually all the things you hate, you start to love the things that you hate about that person. That's when you know you're in it for the long haul. Because you have to hate the crustiest, crummiest, nastiest part of another person to be able to be with them for the rest of your life.
I feel like I see a lot of people who try to force things. When I'm like, why are you two trying to force it when obviously it's not, you know? Like,
because
it's
society
not meant to be, you know? Like
makes them feel like if they're not with somebody, they're not valuable.
Yeah, and I'm like, there's always going to be somebody out there who's going to be willing to compromise on whatever issue you guys are butting heads about. Like, not to say that you shouldn't make compromises in your relationship, because that's all, about relationships. But we had friends when we were younger that the girl was like very, 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 very adamant that her fiance/husband wouldn't go to a strip club, all of these things. And then, he wanted to go to a strip club. So he would just lie and say he was hanging out with the boys. Go to a strip club. And I'm like, why are you staying, like, why would you have a girlfriend who doesn't want you to go to a strip club if you're a guy who wants to go to a strip club? Because there are girls out there who will be like, oh yeah, so, I'll go with you. There are girls out there who don't care.
I had 2 friends in the military, women, who went to strip clubs with their husband. And loved to go to strip clubs.
Yes, there are girls out there like that.
I don't.
It's like, why?
I've never actually been to a strip club. And actually for our bachelor, we went to Vegas. We went to Dennis Rodman's club, but we didn't go to a strip club or anything like that with our friends. Because they realized, like, oh, you guys, it would be a waste of money. Because you're not going to even enjoy it. It's like, it's something worth doing. So I have no context of that. But meeting friends that were down with it, I was like, oh, okay. One of them, though, ended up becoming a lesbian. So then it made more sense when she was, like, super down to go to a strip club. I was like, that makes sense.
I haven't been to a strip club because not that the dancers, ever. Okay. It's not the dancers that gross me out. It's just the setting. I don't even like movie theaters because I just think of all the people sitting in the seats.
Well, they feel dirty too.
And I just don't want to go into a place where there's
like itchy
people sitting in the seats getting hard-ons. And so I just...
So, in the strip club, you mean?
Yeah, in the strip club.
I was like, in the theater? Yeah.
In the theater.
I mean, it probably does have anything.
Yeah, but so I haven't been into one. My husband has, which that's like,
So my husband had one time, he got forced to go, and it was traumatizing for him because...
a bachelor party.
It was a Navy thing. Navy guys made him go. And it was traumatizing because it was like a very unattractive, very large stripper. And he's just not even into that anyway, into strippers and women doing that. Like we go on a cruise, if there's like a woman with a bathing suit on, like he's like uncomfortable. Like him and our sons are all like, I feel very uncomfortable looking at women in these bathing suits on the cruise ship. Why are they not covered? And I go, oh, you're uncomfortable? Like, yes. Why are they out there like that? And I'm like, oh, you're so much like your father. Like he's so uncomfortable. He's always wearing a rash guard out. Like everybody's covered. We're all covered. Like not. So it's pretty funny how, when I see how, because when I hung out with guys, and, like, I lived with guys, it's like, one of the slang terms for, like, it's SoCal, not NorCal, but SoCal slang term for anything that's good is, that's tits, man. It's tits. And so, I'm so used to, like, being around so much, like, through college years, that it was funny that when so, when I met my husband, it was me
initiating
that kissed him. And then I found out later that same night from his roommate.
Yeah.
That I was his first kiss.
You just like grab him and just give him a kiss.
No, I thought that we were actually mutually passing faces, and like we were passing, and then I thought it was a mutual situation. But then what ended up happening was that his roommate ran up to me and was like, oh my God, you're his first kiss.
Oh no.
And then I felt bad because
you were like, wait, was that consensual?
Exactly. That's how I felt. I felt so, well, at that time, this is before we like really talked about stuff like that. Like that wasn't really bad, but I just felt bad because I didn't realize that I misread that situation, because clearly either it was mutual, it couldn't be mutual if it's his first time ever, because you would, you know. So I felt really, really bad about that. But then it also informed me about like what kind of person he was, because he's not an unattractive person, because I actually like saw him like 6 months before I had gone to the same club, because another one of our friends was going on a Marine Corps deployment on a carrier. So we were going to see him for 6 months. And so we were going, he's like, this is where I want to go before I go. Like when I'm gone for 6 months, let's go to Mexico to Tijuana. Let's go to Club Safari. We're like, okay. So we all go as a crew. We had not gone for like a long time by this point. Like we had not been to Mexico for like a year. So we're going, and I see him. It's not that busy. I see my future husband, and I tell my roommates at the time, oh, let's just play like a stupid game. If I was going to play a stupid game right now, because it's like not busy, I would, let's see, who would we pick to marry based on no information at all, just shallow
Just shallowness.
And I was like, him.
That guy there.
I would marry that guy based on just the way he looks and having no information whatsoever at all. They're like, okay. 6 months later, we come back.
He's there.
And I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna hit on him. And I'm sober at this point. I'm not that I'm sober, like I have not had a drink yet at this point. So I go, so I go and I like hit his elbow. He's sitting down and he looks up and I make eye contact with him and I kind of nod. And then he's in the middle of taking a drink and then he nods at me and I disappear into the dance floor. And I'm short, so I disappear into the dance floor.
Yeah.
And then I can look up and see him looking at me. Like, oh, where'd you go? So I'm like, oh, cool, he's interested. So then I loop back around and he's like looking for me and I show up over his shoulder while he's sitting. I go, what's the matter, you don't like to dance? And he goes, there's no one to dance with. Do you want to dance? I was like, right on. So I grab...
Right on.
Yeah, so I grab his hand and then we go out to the dance floor.
Yeah.
And then we're dancing all night. And then we talk every single night for like hours. And then we start seeing each other and we're together ever since. So at the 4-month mark, I thought I was going to just like, okay, send him off his way.
Yeah. Goodbye, have fun in Rhode Island.
Yeah. And what ended up happening was he and I went home for Memorial Day weekend. I remember going to Berkeley and eating at a Crepes A Go-Go and talking about how my roommates and I had talked and they were teasing me because they said, oh, if he asked you to marry him, you would say yes, wouldn't you? Knowing that I had said I would never marry. Knowing that I had said I would never have kids. And they were like, oh my God, you would marry him, huh? I was like, oh my God, I would. Yeah, if I'm being honest, no, I would. Like, oh my God. So then, fast forward, we're sitting here having this Crepes A Go-Go Memorial Day weekend in Berkeley, and I go, oh, I had this funny conversation the other day, and I tell him the conversation. And he goes, oh wait, so you would say yes if I asked you to marry me? Because I was thinking in 9 months, after I come back from Rhode Island, from the Navy program, if we're still talking and we're like still together, I was gonna propose to you. So you'd say yes.
He's like, I'm gonna make sure this is locked in.
And I was like, oh,
so
yeah, I would say
you guys
yes.
did a lot of your relationship long distance too, huh?
The first 5 years of our relationship was long distance.
That's insane.
The first
That's wild.
3 years of our marriage was long distance.
That's wild.
Oh no, wait, first 3 years of
long
our
were you
engagement.
guys-
No, 3 years engaged, 2 years marriage, 5 years long distance.
Oh man, I've never been apart from my husband.
We were on
From
the
the
phone.
day we met.
But what that enabled us to do was we could focus on our
Yeah.
careers and our school. That's why I could have I had a traffic engineering firm, executive assistant position to CEO. I was also full-time fashion designer, assistant showroom manager for Richard Tyler, full-time. And then full-time school, fashion design at FITM in downtown LA.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't in a relationship where he was there every day. Because I was he was in a totally different state, completely across the country. Everything was by phone. He had to do his thing. I had to do my thing. We were just locked in on productivity. And so it was a hard time. I'd be 2 apartment, I had it was a lot. Because then we had to commute back and forth. When he finally came back to California, he went to San Diego to go to school, to University of San Diego, and then he would drive up to LA and come up every single weekend. And then we learned to appreciate each other a lot, though. When you have a long-distance relationship, what happens is when you're together, the time is so important together. You're, not fighting. It's all, quality time.
Yeah.
And then when you're apart, you're just, locked into whatever you're doing. If it's a healthy relationship. It's, I don't know that I would do that in college. I remember seeing people do long-distance in college, and it was they made it through all 4 years, and then they broke up. I was like, oh, my God, what a waste. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wonder why that is. I don't know. Probably because, you don't have the distraction of school and working, so now you just have work and then...
I think it's also the idea of the person versus the reality of the person.
Yeah, once you're,
maybe it works better long distance, but it doesn't work together.
Maybe.
So for us, we knew we were together, because that was the other thing. So when he went away to Rhode Island, I previously meeting him, I was sort of in this, like, when you have a friend in a friend group that you're trying to figure out how to romantically convert, and then it's, like, stuck in this, like, a weird place. That's what I was going through. So then when he came along, and then I was like, I'm just going to give him my full attention for these 4 months because he's leaving anyway.
Yeah. And not worry about that other person.
The cool thing was the other person was totally, like, all my guy friends, they were all like, oh, that was the other thing. When I told them that I was his first kiss, they all said that he was a fucking liar. And there was no way. And then when they met him, they're like, okay, he's telling the truth. Because they could tell he was, like, the genuine niceness of him. They're like, okay, he's telling the truth. And then they accepted him and welcomed him in. My guy friends, like, totally nice. So then I was like, that's really cool. I was like, I'm with the right guy friends because of how they treat this guy. Because they were all, I realized later, my guy friends probably wanted to date me. Someone wanted to date me. So they were kind of bummed.
Yeah.
When I got together, like, what? But they, like, respected who he was and how he carried himself and the way he moved. That they were not, like, trying to fuck with him at all. They're not trying to, like, do anything, like, messed up. Whereas I had other guy friends that were in different groups that in college that would then commingle with this group of guy friends. Did not go well. Did, like, fights break out. So I understood, like, oh, that was really cool that they are not being jerks. Because they wouldn't have won. I did have a couple friends that had basically an intervention. So I was in a group of friends that, like, we were in the beginning of the rave scene, like, but when raves turned into massive parties.
Yeah.
And when you called everything different types of music, like trance and house, and then it switched to, like, EDM. It's just EDM. Okay, so from that transition, that was the time period. And they were, like, afraid that he was going to turn me into a goody-goody and that I wouldn't hang out with them anymore. So that was the intervention. It was like a reverse intervention.
They're like, please, don't turn into a goody-goody.
Yeah.
Please come out and party still.
Yeah, so they're like, we're worried that he's going to change you. We're worried that you won't, like, hang out with us anymore. I was like, no, dude, it's all, like, what? So that was really funny.
That's kind of weird.
But it happened. So then, and then actually that one of those friends that did that, later when he came over to my house, she ended up sitting on his lap and, like, she was notorious for trying to, like, get guys to leave whoever they came for and then go with her. And so I was like, oh, this is a good test. If he bounces and goes with her, then, like, fuck him, I'm good, you know.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He was like, who is it? He was, like, looking at me like, what the fuck? Who is this bitch sitting on my lap?
Why is this person on me right now?
This is your friend? He's like, what? It was like all this in one look of, like,
he's like, come get your girl.
what the fuck is happening right now? It's
get her off of me.
And then I invited him because he was staying at the military base. So I was like, okay, you can stay overnight at my house. Do you want to stay overnight at mine? He was such a gentleman. First he tried to stay on the couch. I was like, no, you don't have to stay on the couch. I have, like, come into the room. He stayed in his clothes on top of the covers and, like, refused to, like, go under the covers and refused to get out of his, like, clothes. He was, like, very, like, I'm not trying to do anything. I'm not trying to do anything bad. It was, like, really funny. It was very sweet. So then that's why when it was time to go, when he was supposed to go to Rhode Island, I was like, you know what? I think that you should go sow your oats. I feel like you should have the freedom to date whoever you want and not feel bound to me because you've just, like, experienced this, like, new awakening or whatever. So you should go experience that because I've seen other people hold out and then it didn't work out. And it's like, it's not fair for you to do that. He was like, you know, like, it's totally cool if you want to do that, but I'm good. And I was like, really?
He's just like, really? I don't want to go to that.
No, but I was like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, if you're not going to, then before I had met him, and this other person that I was, like, kind of, like, talking to, we never actually, like, did anything.
Yeah.
Other than kiss. Like, we never, like, consummated anything. So I had been celibate. So for, like, a couple years. So it was like, I don't care. It was another, like, however long. I don't need to. I'm not in that.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
I'm not,
I'm
like,
good.
So, plus being Catholic for so long, it just was not,
There's
like,
so much
thing.
guilt.
I just, like, I just didn't.
You can't help it.
It was fine. So, that's why we ended up staying together even though he left. Was because, one, I know because I was his first kiss. Two, because then he was like, I don't really need to do this even though I offered it to him. And three, that he was willing to, like, let me do it. So I was like, okay, this is gonna work. This is all the markings of a good partner, long-term spouse, mental fortitude, discipline. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that was how I realized like it was good, and after we just.
So I think it's interesting because with you have a very good head on your shoulders, so you were like checking things. You're like, okay, this makes sense. For me, I had to learn how to be a good partner for my husband, because I had only seen the relationship between my parents. So for me, I had to like learn what was like normal or what was like unhealthy, because I feel like my mom was the more controlling one in the household.
I can see that.
And my dad's like super laid back. And so, yeah, I had to learn how to like rein myself in and be like, okay, what is the whole point of me asking this or feeling this way? And does it have to do more with myself than with my husband? Because my husband, I feel like he's got such a good head on his shoulders. He was raised in a family where like his mom is just she's so kind, she's so respectful. And then he's kind of seen his dad, who is a little bit more like self-centered and very focused on doing what he wants to do.
Okay. And
he's seen his mom get upset because she wasn't treated the way that she deserves. Pretty much. I know one time when he was, I think like 14 to 16, somewhere in that age range, she sat him down and was like, hey, how would you feel if we got a divorce? And he kind of was like, I don't care. They ended up staying together ultimately, but for him, I think when he's, when he was dating, he was thinking about like how he wants to treat a woman based off of like how he saw his mother being treated.
That's nice.
Which I was like, thank God I stumbled into him in an alley, because that's how we met. Because I don't know how else we would have, gotten to know each other. But I just think there's a balance of, and your husband's kind of the same way, where like he kind of had a strong female figure in his life that kind of like.
But it was like a negative vibe. So
more of a negative
same like he wouldn't want to be married to like his grandmother on his mom's side adored her. She was a Democrat. She was a badass. She used to like carry a shotgun. She could like wheel this because she had bears on her property. They come up on black bears and stuff.
Yeah.
And but she did not raise his mom, because his mom was given up for adoption because his grandmother was like a Catholic and was a teen, and her mom his great grandmother forced the adoption.
Oh, so she sent her to one of those like places where like you go in pregnant, you come out not pregnant kind of thing.
I don't know exactly what happened with that. And then later, just out of weird coincidence and fate, his mom was like on a call with like an insurance company and got like the person that was on the call had the same last name, and then was like, do you know this person? And it was like, yeah, it was like somebody related, like close. Yeah. And then that's how they reconnected.
Oh, damn.
So she wasn't raised. She was actually raised by a colonel in the Air Force. She was like a little princess on an Air Force base in Japan. So she actually had that experience, but she didn't talk to any of those family members. It did not end well. A lot of like abuse in that household and stuff like that. So I also understand why she's the way she is, because she went through some stuff.
Yeah.
But it's also hard, like, just because somebody went through some stuff doesn't mean that they have a right to treat you like that. And especially if you're like if you're like someone who has a strong head on your shoulders, who is capable of earning, who has potential, you look at that like, I don't need to deal with this shit.
So then so was it more so his mom that raised him or his dad?
Yeah. So his mom raised him.
But his mom was...
He asked his mom and his dad to get divorced. He told his mom she should get divorced from his dad, and that's why they divorced. So like...
It was that bad.
Yeah, so they also, his dad was like very religious. So they came from like Seventh-day Adventist.
Yeah.
So there's religious factors, there's like other stuff. And then you have like socioeconomic factors. But he is the diamond that came out of all that pressure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so he is an outlier. Although on his dad's side, like a grandfather, either his grandfather or great grandfather, like was some very famous surgeon that like invented like some kind of like eye surgery or something like that. It was like pinnacle in some kind of eye surgery. So there is like some genius
Yeah.
Right, that runs through that. I'm like, okay, that's where he gets his like ability, his like crazy ability to do so much. Like he's just like kicks ass at a lot of stuff. It's not that it comes easy. Like he works really hard.
Yeah.
But that where is this drive coming from? Where is the intellect coming from? Like it's coming from because there's also so many examples of people that did not have the ambition and drive. So it's like how does that get cultivated when you're not in that environment? And not only that, when I went to visit, nobody in that entire town
had that.
No.
It was very...
Yeah, it was like one of those towns where you just felt like, oh my God, like the country has forgotten about this town. Do you know what I'm saying? It was like there's barely anybody that lives there. The road, there's only like...
one road in, one road out kind of vibe.
I think it was like... one road in, one road out. 4 or 5 stoplights, I remember. Dairy Queen. He's like, I used to work there. It was like a movie theater with like 2 movies. Old theater.
Yeah.
And then the Walmart was like the nicest thing there. And that Walmart ran the town. Like everybody got their work from Walmart. Everybody shopped at that Walmart. That thing was like the center of the entire town.
That's so sad.
And so that's actually where I got acquainted with Walmart. I was like, oh, this is Walmart. Like,
this is what Walmart
because
is.
I don't have to go to Walmart where I live. So like I can. There is one. I know where they are, but I don't have to go to them. So seeing that difference when I see like political stuff, like I get it. Like, oh, I know those people. And when they're like, you just forgot about us. We're hardworking people too. We deserve to be recognized too.
Yeah.
And then when you hear with the media from like places that are busy like us, like I'm like, oh, I can see how translators are like, they don't even know what you're talking about. They don't see any of these people over there. They don't have these people over there. Right? So like that's also something to think about, like when you're looking at, I don't know, when it comes to dating too, there's also what you want for yourself. Like, do you want a traditional life? It's like there are people out there that live in the farm. Do you want to live like a quiet existence? Do you want to, and then you need something that's like that.
Yeah.
Are you there's like love languages?
That's what I'm saying. It's like you don't have to. You can't be like a city girl who wants to live in a city and marry a farm boy who wants to live on a farm, and then like one of you just be unhappy. Like you will find somebody that wants to help you live the same lifestyle that you want to live.
Oh, you know another thing that you have to realize too is like, how do you do your finances? Are you a kind of person that like, are you a share everything in one, or are you a 3-account household where you have a joint account and you have each individual accounts?
Yeah.
Because that also, to me, I noticed that relationships that have separate accounts, a lot of stuff is separate in their life, in their marriage.
Yeah.